I was meaning to record a little earlier. I just simply didn't have the time. I am meeting with my friend today and we are going to go explore the evening. It's been quite some time since we've had the opportunity to get together. So I just kind of wanted to briefly remind myself that it's always important to reward yourself, whether that be with spending times with your loved ones and spending time with your friends. I have been meaning to attempt to grasp the attention of more women who are in their mid-30s and want to have like a social group where we can depend on one another, share common interests, common situations that we might be in. I think the majority of the women that I currently follow either already have their careers, are mothers, and have a stable family. So it's always interesting to find like a niche of girls that you can rely on and trust and support one another, whether that be going to dinner, trying fun activities, something active. So that's the midst of my social experience. This last week was very productive. I've attempted to do some writing, and along with writing, I want to make sure that I'm comfortable enough to get in front of a camera for my personal purpose, and also, as I've mentioned before, for anyone who may or may not find interest in the stories that I share. I don't know if I've mentioned this already or not, but 2 months ago, the organization that I worked with, it was a massive layoff due to, the new administration not signing a 3-year contract, not having the federal funding that we needed, which was fine. I wasn't, devastated because I needed the time away. Our department was extremely stressful. However, I do thrive off of serving those in most need. Either way, I've recently been, searching for a new position, and I was on, I believe, job seekers or job recruiters. I believe it's job seekers, not sure. But either way, it's an extremely easy application or website where I go on and I just see a list of jobs, and it's kind of, there are multiple jobs that are placed, and I went ahead and started applying to all, and it doesn't even ask you for your resume. I think it's all logged in, whether it be Indeed, Google, I'm not even sure. I just remember going on there and applying to multiple jobs. The majority of these companies are recruiters, and I've never worked with a recruiter before. So the lady instantly sends me an email and she says, I'd like to pre-qualify you for an interview. Sure, exactly the name, the position, the rate, none of that, right? So I talked to her. I have a very brief conversation with her. It's very casual. She just kind of wanted to know the background of where I've been these past 6 years and my process. So that's educational, work experience, things of that nature. And she then said, I'm gonna go ahead and set you up with the company for a actual interview. So you'll be interviewing with the organization. And I said to her, great. So 3 hours later, she sent me an email right after a video call, and she was like, are you familiar with Google Calls? And I said yes, but I actually probably was the first time I had ever used it. She's like, okay, it's I hate when they use certain terminology of software. It's like a push of a button. Yes, I know how to do it. Just, anywho. This is going to make me spiral into a different conversation, because companies and organizations want to know what type of software you're familiar with. Whatever type of software that I've used in the past, I don't actually have the names for it because it's been quite some time. It's always like entry. So it's never very complicating, but I guess they need to know that people have the proper structures and know exactly, which terms are being used. So you actually have to be very specific. And I don't have that terminology, so that's something that I will have to research at some point. So 1 o'clock came, and I had to I was actually going to go to the gym and do my regular morning routine, and then I thought, no, it's probably best for me to make sure that I study before the interview, because I didn't really have any information. When she told me, when I searched for the recruiter sent me an email with all of the information, the company's name, the position, the rate in which they were paying, which was entry level. So I looked up the company, and then I realized that during my senior project, one of our colleagues actually did his senior project on that organization. So I found that to be really interesting. And then I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I myself have not searched for other organizations within my community in which I can begin applying to, because there are numerous jobs available. So that was another thing that I went on the website and I recognized, oh wow, these are more fit to the experience that I have. I do like working with individuals. However, one thing that I prefer is observation documentation, and less interaction with individuals. But so I noticed that there was a list of different opportunities the organization had, and I went ahead and I did some of they also had like their financial fiscal for last year, this year, and their future plans. Apparently there's a lot of money in mental health that the government is now funding. So if you're interested in like myself, I have started applying with county jobs, government jobs, and obviously nonprofits. I think for benefits, I probably am better off. I've been told that I'm better off joining the county for reasons that will allow me to grow financially within, a structured time. I know, like, for instance, with the organization, it was very difficult for me to move within our small little structure. And unfortunately, when contracts don't get renewed, you just kind of lose your job. So there's not much job security. Either way, I went ahead and I applied, and I went ahead and I did my research. I realized that there's also a lot of resources available to individuals within your city, and I think that's something that I tend to forget as well, and a lot of them can be beneficial. So that's something that I also want to do further research on. Yeah, and the interview was incredible. I mean, I sat in front of two
We are briefly reminded to forget the importance of holding on to something that is simply not meant to be, letting go of an identity far from our own existence, the reflection of those whose reality outweighs our worries. Entertainment is a fuel which lightens the memory by historical buildings formed to transition the mind just for a moment. As my shadows exist louder than the sparkle in my stiletto, I take every step there is and reflect on the young woman whose presence is based on childhood memories, those pure enough to find space in empty rooms filled with spirits. I leap into the midnight skies, glancing over To see a reminder of the young girl I once used to be. As I sip, I remind myself it's okay to set free.